Hello friends, so I wanted to make a quick video answering some questions people had from the Wired story and just reading the website in general. And I don't know, I was going to experiment with video a little more. So I got this Fuji set up and yeah, we'll go through some quick questions. So this first one comes from a colleague, friend of mine, and it is the Travco underpowered? This is an interesting question to answer because I guess, yeah, by modern standards, it's massively underpowered. You know, you don't step on the pedal and jump forward like you do in a modern car. So if that's what you're looking for, then yes, fantastically underpowered. You know, and as a caveat, when we blew our head gaskets in Colorado this fall, I did compression test all the way around, and even on the side without the blown head gasket, which theoretically shouldn't have been affected by the head gasket, we were 10 to 15% below where we should have been. I think we pulled 110 was pretty average, and it should really be at 130. So that's pretty significant power loss because, as my uncle said, our pistons are in there rattling around like old tin cans. Which there might be some truth to that. So if our 318 was in tip-top shape, if we did a rebuild this summer, which I'm looking into right now, that might improve things. I don't know. But I think also, you know, you got to look at this. This is a 1969 vehicle. The standard of travel in the 1960s was extremely different than the standards today. So if you're looking for a modern car in the Travco, you're expecting that kind of thrust, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. That's not at all what it is. To me, though, the 318 is not underpowered. In fact, I think it's a great engine to have in there because it gets better gas mileage. And at the end of the day, you know, people with the 440 Travcos I know are getting like 6-7 miles per gallon sometimes. You know, that thermal quad 4-barrel carburetor just eats up gasoline, and we get 9-10. So, you know, I'll take that honestly, and be a little slower up the hills. And I guess I should also say that the sort of setting of the Wired story where we overheated on the incline and all that, we haven't been out in a situation like that since then, so I don't know what would happen, but I have replaced the thermostat, and I think that was part of the problem. I think that the old thermostat that the guy had put in Dallas wasn't functioning properly. That's one of my guesses. Anyway, so that was that question. Is it underpowered? No. Okay. This isn't really a question. It's a statement. I think your 318 has a larger bore and a heavier cam. That is very possible. I've heard people say that for years, and it could be. I have no way of knowing if this is the original engine that was in the bus in 1969. I kind of suspect not, but it is a 318, so it could be. I've never pulled out the cam, so we'll find out if we do that. Okay, how much did it cost to restore the bus? This is a tough question. I had a number of people ask this, some version of this, and this is a hard one to answer because I restored it differently knowing we were going to live in it than I would have restored it if I were just, you know, whatever, camping 2 weeks a year, that kind of thing. So I spent more than you need to. But I think, with that as a caveat, we spent about 10 to 12,000 on the bus itself, and then another 3.5 on batteries and solar, and then we've even added stuff since then, so that's not the total cost. But, you know, balance that out against the fact that that was 2016, and, you know, sheets of, this is 5mm birch ply behind me, I think is what it's called. And it was like, gosh, it was expensive when I bought it, $32 a sheet or something like that. And I wanted all the grain in line, so it's all up vertical. I didn't use any cross cuts. And that alone, $32 a 4x8 sheet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably at least 15 sheets of that all the way around. So there's a big expense. Just the freaking screws in these things. There's all these machine screws. I don't think there's anywhere the camera can show them, but those stainless steel machine screws are fantastically expensive. I've probably spent $200 on machine screws. The whole ceiling is held up with machine screws. So you could certainly do things cheaper. You can buy the aluminum machine screws, for example, and replace them every couple of years when they rust out. And then, the lighting, we use boat lights and stuff like that, which again, you can get the cheapo Camco, whatever, RV lights. Anything you see that has the word Camco on it is an RV supply company in the United States. Anything you see made by them is absolute garbage. So, but you can use it, it'll hold up fine if you're only using it 2 weeks a year. So I would say, because I had somebody come back and be like, okay, you spent that much. I don't want solar. I don't want this. How much do you think you could do it for? Today, with the price of wood, I still think it's going to cost you $8,000 at least. And that's if you're starting in good condition, Anyway, I hope that helps. If you have specific questions about like something you're thinking of doing, feel free to email me and I can try to tell you what we did if it's helpful. Okay. Other questions. Do you tow the Jeep? No, we do not. The Jeep weighs curb weight was $4,500 when I registered it. No, we do not tow the Jeep. My wife and kids drive separately, which is, not hugely, that's not what we want to be doing ultimately, but my job sort of requires me to run to the mailbox frequently, so, it's a necessary thing at this point. And then somebody else asked, have you always had a second car? Because I had the Jeep Post and they came, and then, in the wire piece, it sounds like we don't have a second car, and we did not have a second car at that time. So when we started off, we had my wife's minivan. I guess it was our minivan. I just disavow any knowledge of having ever owned a minivan, but I did. Because we had the car seats and stuff like that. The kids were little. We wanted them in that, and we figured the bus was going to break down. We did not go into this thinking, oh, we'll just, there was some piece, I can't remember, a couple of years ago where some woman was like, I bought a van and all I do is spend my money repairing it. It always breaks down and now I'm broke. Yeah, we figured that. Anybody who's buying a car ought to figure that it's going to break down. So we thought, hey, we got this minivan, we'll just keep it. We'll use it to go get parts. We can use it to, run around town and do things, and sort of work the bugs out of the bus, if you want to use that metaphor. Yeah, or if I'm at the side of the road, Corinne could take the kids to a hotel or get a hotel for the night and that kind of thing. So we kept that minivan for a long time, and then it started to have problems, and we said, nah, we're not fixing it. We donated it to a high school repair program in Montrose, I believe, Colorado, something like that. And then that started the, this is about 9 months to a year of just traveling in the bus. And we did occasionally rent cars in towns and stuff like that so that we could get around. Man, they're mowing the lawns here. Hopefully that's not too annoying. So yeah, we've had a car and then we've not had a car, and then after we broke down and had to get the piston replaced and stuff like that in California, my uncle had this old Volvo. We were up there for Thanksgiving, and he had this old white station wagon Volvo sitting in the bushes that Corinne thought was really cool, and I thought was cool. And he was like, do you guys want it? Just pull it out of here. I want to get rid of it. So we did. And we had a guy down the street from him fix it up while we went back to the bus and got it fixed up. And then I flew up and got it. There's stories about this on Lexicograph. You can look it up in the archives. Okay, so next question. What's that? 4, maybe 5. Um, do you homeschool? Yes, we do. Yeah, you can do that. And the sort of, I guess, tangentially related question is someone asked, do your kids handle breaking down, or how do they, what do they do when we break down now? I think they're sort of meaning now rather than when they were little kids and we could be like, go look for fossils. You know, they're preteens now. And we just broke down like 4 times in the last week. And, you know, they get a book to read now and they hang out in the bus. When it's really, really hot, they often go somewhere like there's always an antique store around. You know, when we break down, there's always some place we can take them, and they have fun doing that while I wrestle with the bus. So that, you know, I mean, they've been raised to be able to handle being bored. So that basically solves the problem. Okay. So I had someone ask me, you know, they were like, oh, I really like your story. I've been reading all these other stories on the internet. I really am thinking about getting into this van life thing. Can you give me like an intro? What do I need to know? And my answer to that is I have no idea. I don't know what van life involves. I don't even know what people mean when they say that, really. We know some people who travel full time in a van, and it's just like an RV, but smaller. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, I never was like, oh, I want to live this lifestyle. It was. I mean, actually, it might have been helpful for me to think about it. I could have avoided some traps along the way, maybe. But I didn't. I just thought of like, wow, that's a cool vehicle. I want to travel around the country. You know, and in the beginning, we weren't planning to do this forever. You know, it was like maybe we'll do it for a year or something and see what happens. So yeah, I'm sorry that I can't help more with that, but I'm sure there's a lot of resources on the internet if you look around. I guess the trick is finding out which ones are good and which ones are not, and unfortunately I don't have a lot to add there. I'm very sorry about that. Okay. Let's see, where was I? I think it's question 6 or 7, maybe? And it is the last question I have here that I'm going to answer today, and that is the bus for sale? No. Neither is the Jeep. A few people asked about that. No, neither one of them are for sale. We're pretty happy doing what we're doing. Like I said, we did just break down a bunch of times on the way up here, but we also drove like 1,500 miles in 6 days with 3 kids and 2 antique vehicles, so I consider that a total win. We broke our exhaust pipe. That took about an hour to fix, no biggie. We broke, well, I wouldn't say I would say America's Roads broke that, and they broke the bolt that holds on the alternator. That took me a half hour to fix. And then the most confusing one that took me 2 days to track down was the rear transmission mount, which was allowed the transmission and drivetrain to drop down so that the actual drivetrain U-joint area was rubbing against the mount. So the mount kind of collapsed in and went like this, which was not enough to screw anything up. It just made this scraping noise that I thought, I was completely convinced were my brake drums rubbing. We had kind of a frustrating drive because we were trying to move too quickly, too far too quickly, basically. And we knew better than that. It was our fault. It was my fault. I planned this drive that was just unrealistic, and I should have known better. I do know better, and yet I still did it. So, you know, you could be at this for 6 years and still basically be an idiot like me, and I guess, I don't know, overestimate your own capabilities. And it wasn't that. Like, I knew that it was going to be a hard drive for all of us, but we wanted to get up here to where I am now, which is in Washburn, Wisconsin, and we were really kind of in a hurry. We wanted to get out of the south. It was getting really hot, real hot and real buggy, and I thought, well, let's just push hard and let's do it. And so we did. I hope that was helpful. I have some more questions that I'm going to do another one. This one's already long. It's like 20 minutes I've been sitting here talking to my Fuji, which is just weird. But a lot of people are asking me to do more videos, so okay, here you go. And maybe I'll do another one, maybe I'll write it up, I don't know, but I do have I have like half a dozen more questions. So I will try to get to those in another video. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.